Hallo Leute, willkommen zu einer weiteren Folge von Genshin Impact. Letzte Folge haben wir mit dem zweiten Akt angefangen und haben ein paar Versuche auf unser Leben abgewehrt, denn da hat probiert einerseits die Navia in Wasser umzuwandeln, uns mit Robotern zu attackieren. Wir wurden auch ohnmächtig und alles so. Es war vieles los letztes Mal, also schaut euch da definitiv mal rein, was da passiert ist. Und jetzt sind wir hier so in einem Stützpunkt und werden uns mal ein bisschen ausruhen. Wir brauchen das definitiv nach diesem verdammten Tag. So. Unter dem wachsamen Auge der Spinner de Rosa zog eine ruhige Nacht ins... ja.
Paimon slept so well. This place feels almost too safe.
Ja, ein bisschen vielleicht.
Navia? Where did the other two go?
Gute Frage.
I sent them back to Poisson. It's Spina de Rosula's place of origin, and where we have our headquarters.
Okay.
There's not much for them to do here at the moment.
Okay.
Paimon gets the feeling that you're just trying to get them off your back. But never mind that. When did you get back? Were you waiting here the whole time?
No, I just returned after going out for a while. I did some investigating yesterday regarding the name Vacher.
Oh, hast du rausgefunden?
So you didn't sleep at all?
Ja, stimmt. Warte, warst du die ganze Nacht wach?
How could I after having such critical new evidence appear?
Guess Paimon wasn't speaking for everyone just now, huh?
Unfortunately, this name seems to have been wiped from existence. It doesn't seem to have a match anywhere.
Huh.
I suspect that those behind this have already taken steps to hinder an investigation from this angle. But that does prove that this Vacher person is a key witness in the incident.
Vielleicht wurde er umgebracht, das ist das Problem.
That mean we're too late though?
Oder der hat was übrig gelassen, wie ein Notizbuch oder sowas könnte helfen.
There is one ray of hope. One place in Fontaine that they would find almost impossible to threaten.
Okay.
No matter how much they wanted to.
Und das wäre?
And that is the archives kept by Chief Justice Neuvillette. A place where detailed files on all the cases in recent years are kept.
Okay.
If the Ocean that you met is one of the young women who went missing recently, we should be able to find some related information there.
Stimmt. Vielleicht Beziehungsstatus, Heirat mit Vacher oder irgendwas. Huh.
Whew. Guess that's the hard-working Chief Justice for you. In that case, let's go talk to him, shall we?
Am besten, ja. Ist nicht so einfach, nehme ich mal an.
Aren't you coming along, Navia? Did you get tired?
Irgendwas Schlechtes zwischen den zwei?
No, it's nothing. Let's go see the Honorable Chief Justice.
Plot Twist, das ist dein Bruder. Bitte nicht, sag mir nicht, dass ich da wieder richtig liege. Mir hat es schon gereicht, dass ich bei dem ersten Akt mit der Kino-Vermutung richtig lag, dass Lynette und Linné unter ihr stehen.
Calais is right up ahead. Come on.
Geh ins Büro des obersten Richters. Ja, hallo! Ich möchte da ein paar wichtige Dateien. Warte, jetzt fällt es nicht mehr ein. Ich brauche da ein paar Informationen, die du mir wahrscheinlich ohne Probleme überreichst, ne? Oder? Nein? Okay. Es wäre schön, wenn das der Fall wäre.
Halt! Please state your business here. The Chief Justice is presently occupied with official matters.
Wir brauchen Informationen.
This place does look pretty heavily guarded. Guess that proves that Neuvillettes files are really secure.
Macht ja auch Sinn.
Don't you recognize us?
Huh? Who are you? Just to be clear, I don't care who you are or who you might be related to. Our rules make no exceptions.
Okay.
See? They've got great discipline, too.
Yep. Paimon can tell. If you're here just to crack jokes, I can point you towards the exit. Unlike some, we're busy, so please leave if you don't have a reason to be here.
Okay.
No. What I meant to say is, shouldn't you remember us from a few days ago? We were at the trial of the great magician Linny.
Oh, yes, I remember. I read about it in the Steambird. You must be Linny's attorney.
Yep.
It's all coming back to me now.
We're here today to report and archive some information on a follow-up case.
Huh. Is that even a thing?
Of course. Don't worry. We're here on official business. You can trust us.
Ja, vertrau uns.
All right then, I'll let you through. The Chief Justice is just inside.
Eingelegt.
Thanks so much.
Oder war das auch richtig? Geh ins Büro des obersten Richters. Ja, hallo!
Please come in.
Hallo, oh mein Gott, das sieht wunderschön aus. Hallo!
Sorry to barge in, Monsieur Nervalet. We only lied to get in because we didn't know any other way.
It's all right. Please let me know how I may be of assistance to you.
Okay, der kommt mir entgegen wie gedacht.
So you're not mad at us?
Genau das sag ich mir auch.
We're looking for a man called Vacher. He may have been an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. If we can find him, we may be able to unearth some key information on the case.
Ah, I see. In that case, please wait here a moment while I browse through the files.
Okay. Also er kommt uns wirklich mehr entgegen, wie ich gedacht hätte am Anfang, wo ich ihn das letzte Mal gesehen habe.
Would be so easy to talk to.
Ja, genau das denke ich mir auch bei, Mann. Die zwei hatten irgendwas miteinander zu tun, aber wir wissen nicht was.
Unfortunately,
Ich bedauere.
I'm quite certain that no one by the name of Vacher has been involved in any case, criminal or civil, in the past several years.
Huh.
There are no records of him either in the files or in my memory.
War jetzt alles umsonst?
Traveler, what if it was really just a dream?
Na, ich bezweifle es ganz stark.
Is that so? All right then. Thank you so much, Monsieur Neuvillette. We'll take our leave now.
Ahem.
Was habt ihr zwei miteinander zu tun?
Miss Navia, I can understand how you feel. Your father, Callas, was a truly exceptional man. We deeply regret his passing.
And what are you trying to say, Monsieur Neuvillette? Are you trying to console me? Extend your sympathy? Or just express some tendril of regret?
Oder vielleicht war der Richter war?
You are not trying to do any of that. I can hear it in your voice. There's no emotion behind your words. You only said those things because you felt like you should. It's just like last time. After my father took his place in the duelist ring, I pushed through the guards to talk to you as a last resort. You even told me then that you thought there was something fishy with the case, yet you still allowed the duel to go ahead. In your eyes, the value of a human life is nothing compared to those cold laws you hold so dear. If you truly regret my father's death, then why didn't you call a stop to the duel?
Oh, Jesus.
Why didn't you give me the power to stop him from throwing his life away? Why did you just let him die, despised and hated by all? Everything was hanging on a thread at that moment. Just the tiniest effort could have changed everything. There are still so many things I never got to tell him. So many questions he still owes me answers to. If you really have no heart, then just look me in the eyes. I, Navia, will show you the true meaning of regret.
I'm sorry, Miss Navia.
You and my father are truly alike. You keep all kinds of things in your heart and never say a word to anyone. It's not so much that you can't feel, but that you would never express anything.
Huh.
Oh well. In any case, everyone already knows full well the apathy of the Chief Justice. My apologies for taking my emotions out on you, Monsieur Chief Justice. Let's go, Traveler and Paimon.
Ich habe nicht jetzt gedacht, dass es so emotional wird auf einmal. Das heißt, der Richter selbst wusste, dass da irgendwas nicht richtig lief. Da stinkt was gewaltig hinter dieser Sache. Und ich bin sehr gespannt, was wir herausfinden werden über die Dings. Über das Verschwinden und alles und was da alles zusammenhängt.
Navia, are you okay?
Und es regnet wieder.
I'm fine. Rain. It's raining.
Ja.
You're right. Wasn't it still sunny when we went into the building? And there shouldn't be any active trials today. How strange.
Huh.
Now that I think of it, On the day my father was convicted of murder, it was also raining.
Regen.
What is it? Did you think of something?
Der Fall deines Vaters, hat er drin oder draußen stattgefunden?
Yeah, he was outside. It was uncovered and the rain could fall there. Why? Do you think the rain could have affected the crime scene?
Huh.
That thought has occurred to us before. We've even expanded the search area to try to account for that, but didn't find anything of value.
Damals fehlt euch aber eine entscheidende Information.
Oh? Wait. You don't mean...
Die Tatsache, dass sich Menschen in Wasser verwandeln können.
So you're saying that the true murderer could have been turned into water and then got washed away with the rain? Yeah. And if that's what had happened, then no one would have believed your dad, even if he explained what he saw to the authorities.
Das könnte gut sein,
Really
ey.
think I found a true genius for a partner.
Boah,
You're
so weit zu
completely
denken, aber auch.
right. How did I not connect the dots earlier? All right, let's go to Poisson. With this new lead in mind, we'll get to the bottom of my father's case for sure.
Ja.
Yeah, we're gonna make progress for sure this time.
Do you want to go with me now? Or do you want to head over by yourself later?
Ich würde sagen direkt, oder? Lass uns keine Zeit mehr verlieren.
Great. Let's go then.
Ich würde sagen, wirklich keine Zeit verlieren, weil... Ja. Ich denke, das ist einfach ein Moment, wo man kann sagen, okay, ich mache jetzt etwas anderes, zum Beispiel Fontaine Exploration, oder man kann dafür direkt mitnehmen und die Quest voranschreiten. Und wir machen natürlich das erste und bringen die Quest noch weiter voran, weil ich bin sehr gespannt, was wir da herausfinden, weil das ist sehr suspekt. Ich bin wirklich sehr gespannt, wer der Täter wird sein. Aber wie ich leider befürchte, ich bezweifle ganz stark, dass wir das jetzt heute rausfinden. Beziehungsweise im zweiten Akt. Okay. Irgendwo hier ist ein Hydrokulus. Vielleicht hier versteckt. Nein, wir sind wahrscheinlich sogar schon vorbei. Wo ist der Hydrokulus? Ich brauche ihn. Nein? Okay, dann gebe ich es auf. Dann gehen wir auf dem Weg nach. Aktivieren den Teleporter. Und beachten das wunderschöne Ort, den Ort hier, wo wir haben. Okay, wir sind hier. So, wir ein bisschen in Richtung Anfang. Okay, ist aber auch relativ gut versteckt. Sieht super aus auch. So. Hey. Dann... Oh, Cutscene.
Whoa, what a huge ship!
Hmm.
Why would a ship be anchored at a place like this?
Gute Frage.
There's no need to be so surprised. While it may look like a ship, it's actually Spina di Rosula's headquarters.
Okay, warum nicht?
My father was the one who asked for it to be built like this. Perhaps our taste in exterior design is the only thing we occasionally had in common. A gigantic and glamorous ship embodies discovery, opportunity, ambition, and conquest. It symbolizes Spina di Rosula's bright and limitless future.
Ich glaube, ich verstehe langsam, warum es dir gefällt.
And Paimon thought you were bluffing when you said Spina di Rosula had a glorious past. Paimon was confused why a group with such a history would live in the sewers. But now that Paimon has seen this ship for herself, she's been convinced.
Es gibt eine Kraft von sich aus, so eine Aura.
Poisson is where Spina di Rosula began, after all. It's our main base, our home.
Okay, dann schauen wir mal uns um und sprich mit Malus auf dem Schiff. Okay. So. Dann begeben wir uns direkt dorthin. Irgendwo da unten ist ein Hydrokulus. Ich sehe den. Bekommen wir jetzt wahrscheinlich viel später. Oh Gott, ich kann mich ja freuen auf die Erkundung. Das wird schön. So. So. Up. Und up. Und dann lassen wir durch. Hoppala. So. Und weiter geht's. Hydrokulus vielleicht da unten. Ich weiß nicht. Ich könnte mir auch vorstellen, noch hier auf dem Schiff einzusehen. Zu haben. Schauen wir uns einfach mal kurz um. Schau mal, wieso auch das Schiff von anderer Perspektive anschauen. Ja, das ist wirklich schnell Hydrokulus. LOL. Boah, das Schiff sieht schon wirklich sehr schön aus. Und mit der Natur sieht es nur irgendwie noch besser aus. So, Mellus, hallo.
Malus, we're back.
Hallo, wir sind's wieder zurück.
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle, and our most important partners. You said before that you still had some business at the court. What brings you back to Poisson so quickly?
About that. It's because my partner here reminded me of something really important. You see, what if my father's case had something to do with water from the primordial sea?
Yeah.
You still remember, right, Malus? On that night, it was raining?
Yes, the case was quite similar to that of Mr. Linney's. Both were what you'd call impossible murders.
Könnte hinter alledem ein und dieselbe Person stecken? Oder
Tell
Gruppe?
us a bit more about what happened before.
Yeah, of course. Many years ago, something called synth began to gain popularity in Poisson.
Okay.
At a glance, it was a kind of drink that could excite your mood and produce many pleasant hallucinations.
Mhm.
Wait! Didn't that guard guy who turned into water also mention that the primordial water could be used to produce some kind of potion?
Ja, das wurde gesagt. Und das auch so gut Gefühle ausdrückt. Also,
Considering what we know now, it's almost certain that synth is created using water from the primordial sea.
ja.
If you drink synth for an extended amount of time, you'll suffer many side effects, such as losing the ability to focus or control your emotions.
Okay.
And if you were to stop drinking it completely, you'll experience flashes of paranoia and anxiety while lacking energy to do anything.
Huh.
It's an extremely dangerous substance.
Also
As
eine
the
Droge, die
officer
extrem
saw,
schnell abhängig
My
macht.
father was compelled to put a stop to synth abuse and called for a complete ban of it.
Ja, verständlich.
Boss's uncompromising attitude incurred the synth vendor's wrath, but no matter how much they threatened or bribed him, he refused to yield. Not only that, Boss became determined to find the mastermind behind the synth operation and put an end to the problem once and for all.
Macht Sinn.
Yes, but the enemy was very cunning. So he could never get anything out of the dealers, all of whom only sold the stuff and weren't privy to the rest of the operation. Recognizing that, my father decided to contact the dealers in secret and cultivate personal relationships with them. Finally, he was able to convince someone to become his informant.
Okay.
The man's name was Jacques. He felt greatly ashamed about his work after seeing many families destroyed by synth abuse.
Yep.
That night, my father hosted a banquet at his countryside estate. He planned to meet up and exchange information with Jacques over some food.
Aber der Tod von Jacques wurde ihm untergeschoben.
We heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. We raced to the scene and found my father, still holding a gun, and Jacques, who was already dead on the ground.
Voilà.
How did that happen? Aren't they on the same side?
Sounds just like Lenny's case, doesn't it? In both cases, the culprit seemed obvious, but neither appeared to have any motive at all.
Nee, im Gegenteil.
Back on it, though, I now believe the most important clue was something we all overlooked at the time. There were pieces of clothing left at the scene.
Könnte sie der Person gehören, die aufgelöst wurde?
Precisely. It's all thanks to you that I made the connection now. Back then, we all just thought they were some costumes that Jacques used to disguise himself at the banquet. But, considering it now, it's almost certain that they belong to a third person at the scene. With one extra person, we'll also need to reconsider why the 2 shots were fired.
Aber es könnte sich genau eine dritte Person eingemischt haben. Es könnte sein, dass die dritte Person die beide ermorden wollte, aber Chuck hat die 2 Schüsse abgenommen. Nämlich den ersten hatte er bekommen und den zweiten hat ihn abgefangen für den Vater vielleicht.
You're right. We
Ich habe jetzt nicht
still
gelesen, was
don't
da
know
stand,
what
verdammt.
happened. But my intuition tells me that we're on the right track to figuring it all out. I'm finally headed towards the truth.
Jacques was an empathetic man who was infinitely remorseful for his past actions. It's unlikely that he turned on Boss with 0 warning.
Nee, eher im
I think
Gegenteil.
this third person is probably the key to the full truth.
Ja.
On that note, however, even though this will not please you, demoiselle, as you're and your father's butler, I must still offer a word of warning.
Das wäre?
Our opponent is insidious and cruel. They are extremely difficult to deal with, and Boss has already lost his life trying to bring them to justice.
Ja.
Even though Spina de Rosula has lost most of its former glory, Poisson has welcomed a new time of peace, and we have been allowed to live out our lives. There is no need to follow your father's path. It would be both wise and in line with Boss's wishes to step back and give up on the case.
Ja, aber Navi wird den
If
Weg nicht
that's
einschlagen.
indeed what he wished for, then he should have told me that himself. Was I not the closest person to him? And yet, I was the one most kept in the dark. What was the point of him dying without sharing any of the secrets he knew? Did he manage to protect anything in the end? Synth is still here. Callas the Unfaithful is still his epithet. And Spina di Rosula is barely getting by. Nothing has changed.
Nee, nicht
Did he
wirklich, wie
think I'd
scheint.
just accept his meaningless death and live out my life just as meaninglessly? I've never accepted that. Ever. Not since that day, and certainly not now. I want to find out the real answer for everyone's sake. For the missing girls, for the victims, and for myself.
Navia.
This is indeed the best moment to act. Your partner appears to be quite reliable, and more importantly, Demoiselle, I think you're also ready to take this on.
Yep.
So you do know something else, Maloose.
Yes, I do. In fact, even before that banquet, Boss already knew of the connection between Synth and the serial disappearances case.
Okay.
But what drove all the tensions to the boiling point was the revelation that you, Demoiselle, had been selected as the next target to disappear.
Oh.
What?
Boss
Musste sterben,
also
damit sie
didn't
nicht
tell you
umgewandelt
that he
wurde, wahrscheinlich.
had been diagnosed with a rare illness. The doctors told him that he had no more than 5 years left to
Und
live.
das noch dazu. Er wäre
And
sowieso
the
gestorben.
serial disappearances case caused him great anxiety.
Jesus.
5 years was nowhere near enough time to resolve this long-standing conflict. But once he passed away, all the danger would pass on to you. Knowing all of this, he decided to use one final intimidation tactic before his death. He claimed to have already gotten his hands on some key incriminating evidence for the other side, and even told some members of Spina di Rosula about the details. But as long as you remained safe, he would not share the evidence with the public.
Okay.
If something were to happen to you, then he and all those he told would immediately expose all they knew about Synth and the disappeared victims.
Right. So nobody would be able to get off scot-free.
Also in
As we've
Versicherung,
seen,
ja.
Boss's tactic has worked. Even though Boss has been gone for a long time, the other side has not tried to take Demoiselle's life.
Sie haben
No.
probiert.
I don't believe it. He never appeared to look sick to me.
No father wants their daughter to see them weak and haggard, especially someone as proud as Boss.
So wie Dias Vater.
To
Na,
him, dying in a
nicht leiblich,
duel
aber.
and suffering lasting dishonor as the unfaithful was still far preferable than losing face in front of his daughter.
So he chose to die in silence, so that he could protect me.
I'm afraid you're not understanding this correctly, Demoiselle. What Boss wanted to hand to you was not a parasol, but a sword.
Huh.
If Boss's spirit could hear you telling me that you want to find the answer for the sake of everyone involved,
Er wäre stolz.
I'm sure he'd be extremely proud.
Ja.
That fool. Couldn't he have just given it to me straight?
Anscheinend
No.
nicht.
He might have set up everything.
Alter, die arme Navi, ja. Die ist ja nur am
Never
Heulen.
thought
Also,
I'd be able to understand
nur.
him. Is that the amount of confidence he had in me? And what if I was never able to make it to where I am now?
Er wollte dir die Wahl lassen.
Yeah. I suppose that's true. With the way he'd set things up, if I had wanted, I could have just lived out my life without a care in the world.
Aber
Thankfully, he rarely talked to me about complex matters, and thus understood little of me as a person. In this case, he really didn't need to give me an easy way out. Maloose, what was the key evidence that he shared with you?
jetzt bin ich gespannt.
It's the location where synth is produced. Essentially, it's the enemy's headquarters.
Und das wäre?
When he was threatening the enemy, Boss didn't share the specifics of the incriminating evidence he found.
Huh.
But if you want to use it against the enemy, you'll still have to take several things into consideration.
Mhm.
Why? If we know where the place is, can't we just go storming in?
Sie haben
You
irgendwas
mustn't
geplant.
forget that we're fighting against a mysterious and dangerous organization that's been in operation for decades. There's no telling what might be lying in wait at their headquarters. We also have no idea what kind of evidence we may be able to find inside,
Und wie tief das
nor
überhaupt
what
geht.
people we may be able to capture. But a single visit to their headquarters would be tantamount to a formal declaration of war.
Das
The
war.
worst case would be that we leave empty-handed, but also open ourselves up to full retaliation.
Then, in that case, why not work with the Fontaine authorities?
Well, you saw one of them dissolve during Mr. Linney's case. We have no idea just how thoroughly they may have been infiltrated.
Ja, gute Frage, wie tief das wirklich geht. Wer dabei
That's
ist.
true. Seems my father really had no choice.
Huh.
But things are different now. It should be a lot easier to prove the other side's guilt, now that we've connected Synth with the disappearances case.
You sound like you've put a lot of thought into this, Maloose.
I am the butler, after all. I live but to serve the boss and Demoiselle's will. I've always been willing to take on any kind of risk for your sake. But considering my relative lack of ability, I've spent my time keeping secrets, performing basic investigations, and waiting for the right time to come.
Thank you for all of that, Maloose. Have you discovered anything new in the past few years?
Ich glaube nicht, oder?
Let me think. One conclusion I came to is that the enemy must be quite familiar with Spina di Rosula, or at least have an informant planted here.
Vielleicht Silver?
When I announced orders to the organization's members on Demoiselle's behalf, I used to deliberately keep a few people in the dark and observe the reactions of the synth vendors. If the vendors didn't change their plans, then the individuals informed of our orders must be innocent. If the vendors packed up and fled, however, then someone must have given them the news. After several rounds of testing and investigative tracing, I've narrowed the suspect list down to 3 people.
Und die wären?
The first is Florent, Spina di Rosula's senior advisor.
Mhm.
Huh? Florent?
Yes, surprising, isn't it? He was one of the people Boss trusted the most, which also means that he was someone who understood Boss really well.
Ja.
Thanks to his position within Boss's innermost circle, he always knew our upcoming plans and could thus avoid capture this whole time. There's someone else like him too. Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières.
Okay.
Uncle Marcel.
Was ist diese Confrérie?
It's a guild in Poisson. Boss helped it to grow to its current size and prominence.
Okay.
In the beginning, they were only reselling some daily goods, but now they're one of the richest guilds around with a lot of business connections in the city.
Okay.
So, they're like a sister organization of Spina di Rosula?
Ja, ich glaube, das beschreibt am besten, Paimon.
You can say that. When we were fighting against the synth dealers, they provided us with plenty of support. It's a bit difficult to imagine someone using their own money to hunt down themselves.
The final
wir haben ein
suspect
guter
is
Cover.
Thierry, the man responsible for coordinating information between Spina di Rosula and the guards. Although the guards mostly leave us to our own devices, there are still many activities we have to report to the local authorities. Since Thierry is always in the know about our current activities, he could theoretically always plan one step ahead.
I
Okay.
see. These are all people who I communicate with quite regularly. To think that the enemy we've been fighting against has been right next to me all along, among those I trust the most.
Ja.
It's almost too hard to believe.
If you want to investigate them, please take every precaution to not alert the quarry. Judging from our experience, the enemy is extremely cautious.
Of course. And thank you, Maloose. You've provided us with a lot of great information.
Oh ja, wirklich
You're
viel.
too kind, my lady.
Mehr, wie ich erwartet habe.
I'm just doing my duty. And before I forget, proving Boss's innocence would also mean clearing him of blame in Jacques' death.
Und seinen Ruf.
After that incident, Jacques' wife and daughter were taken into the Spina's care. They still live in Poisson today.
Huh.
If it might help, you could also pay them a visit. I can make the necessary arrangements.
Oh, thank you so much, Malus. You really are the best.
Okay,
A new case awaits, my dear partner.
du kannst auf mich zählen.
I hope we can work together to uncover the truth and end this case once and for all.
Yep, machen wir. Protokoll von Callas Fall. In der regnischen Nacht vor 3 Jahren hörten alle Anwesenden des Pakets 2 Schüsse von außerhalb des Anwesens. Als der Mord des Geschehen dann kam, hielt Callas eine Waffe in der Hand und Jax lag erschossen auf dem Boden. Den damaligen Ermittlungsergebnissen zufolge war eine Flucht für andere nach Belegung des Verbrechens unmöglich, weshalb Callas in diesem Fall als Mörder identifiziert wurde. Okay, dann würde ich sagen, werden wir nächste Folge hoffentlich diesen Maulwurf ausfindig machen. Meine Theorie, meine Hypothese ist, dass die 3 sind die Maulwürfe. Nur einer ist daneben vielleicht noch ein Maulwurf, das wäre die simpelste. Oder es gibt einen 4. oder 5. Suspekten, den wir erst durch die 3 rausfinden. Und ja. Und der schlimmste Plot, wie es die Frau war's. Nein, ich glaub's ja nicht. Das wäre wirklich krass. Also wenn es sich herausstellt, dass die Frau ihren eigenen Mann auf dem Gewissen hat, sozusagen. Das wäre krass. Ja. Auf jeden Fall werden wir in der nächsten Folge uns anschauen, wer der Maulwurf hier ist. Der Familie von Jack einen Besuch abstatten. Und dann schauen wir, was wir so rausfinden nächstes Mal. Aber ja, danke fürs Zuschauen. Ich hoffe, es hat euch gefallen. Und bis dann beim nächsten Mal. Tschüss.